Could you tell us what you've got here, please, Mr. Fortescue?
Well, you can see. We have a Fairy Volcano. This is a representation of what I found in 1938.
So, it's a representation, it's not real.
Well, it's as real as you and I, but it also represents.
But you made it, it's not really made by the fairies.
Well, I made it, but I was sort of guided. Guided.
Yes. So, Mr. Fortescue, what is this that you keep adding oil to?
It represents a fairy volcano. It is one that I did dig up.
Did fairies light their own volcanoes?
I don't know whether the volcanoes were found by fairies or made by fairies, but I know that this one, oh, well, I couldn't really tell you, I certainly didn't make it.
Did you excavate it?
I excavated it, yes. Fairly recently, about sort of 40 years ago or something like that.
Very recently?
Very recent, yes, not bad at all. So it's very good, it's very steep-sided, they must be impregnable, and this represents the sort of lava flow. It would have been pressed out, bursting down the sides, and it has, well, good heavens, what's that? This. Actually, this is I believe this is a meteorite.
And did you make that, or did you excavate that with the volcano?
That was excavated. I thought it was ejected from the volcano. I thought it sort of pressed out from that. Oh gosh, look, I've gone and put it out now. Oh, that's a bit of a tragedy, really. But
how long did it take you to light the Fairy Volcano?
I'm awfully sorry, but you see, there was that which I thought might have been the plug. That the volcanoes have a plug like Hator and these different things in Dartmoor, things like that, and it would have plugged the volcano and burst it out and tumbled down the slope. And then there was this one, which would have been a lesser plug, which would have gone in the top before. So this one would have been ejected previous to this one, because this one's bigger. And this one would have been when the hole was smaller.
And is this the only evidence you have of the greater and lesser plugs in a fairy volcanoes?
The greater and the lesser spiked, and this is the greater noduled. This one.
And are these terms that you've coined yourself, or that are
generally
acknowledged in the field?
Acknowledged in the field of fairy archaeology, yes.
Of which you are the sole.
I beg pardon?
The field of which you are the sole professor.
I mean, absolutely not. No, there's lots of us around. It's just that we don't advertise ourselves very much. You see, that's one of our problems.
I see.
A bit like fairies, we don't like being seen by the light of day, sort of thing. Look, I found some, what I think would be. Have you seen that? They're wheels from chariots. Mounted, so you can sort of get some sort of idea of the size of these beings compared to the volcano. So there's quite a lot. So
it's really a very small volcano, comparatively.
Yes, well, no, these were huge chariots.
Right. How many fairies could a chariot that size have carried?
Or about 200 or something like that. They would have been. Yeah, this is some sort of plume of smoke that was fossilised coming from the top of the volcano. So,
Mr. Fortescue, how would a plume of smoke have become fossilised?
Well, it's sort of crystallisation, I should think. It's sort of like a snowflake, but it's not cold, it doesn't melt, it comes from fire, it doesn't come from cold, it comes from heat. Therefore, it takes a structure. This is a very fine skeletal structure of a volcano, fairy volcano smoke. Pretty, isn't it? And this would have been a worshipping platform for the volcano, for the fairies, of which there would have been 200, maybe 250 on board the chariot. See, there's one wheel missing.
So, am I right to say that the volcano was very important in the fairy belief scheme? Why would they have been worshipping the volcano?
Just because, for a bit of fun. You know, they didn't take anything very seriously.
So they didn't take it very seriously?
No, they didn't take anything very seriously at all. But, you know, they would just sort of have a bit of a hoot around volcanoes, etc. Now,
were they not dangerous?
What, fairies or volcanoes?
If the volcanoes were ejecting projectiles of this sort of size...
Well, that would have been enough to crush 500 at one.
So it was a very dangerous folly.
It was, but they were very in tune with the earth. They knew when this thing was going to go off, etc. Good Lord, look at that. I thought I saw it smoking again then. Would you like me to demonstrate the volcano again? Light it up, for instance? Well, I'm going to anyhow. I'll take off the very precious fossilised smoke.
Is it possible for you to demonstrate smoke of that sort for us?
Attempting now to put this...
And what are you using to make the smoke, Mr. Fortescue?
It's homemade gun cotton. Ah! There's nothing.
So you've perfected the procedure, I see.
Not quite, not really, no. These sort of things take a lifetime.
Would you say that you have very methodical approaches to things like this, or is it more of a haphazard art?
There's more of a sort of worship, really, rather than haphazard or...
The same sort of dangerous worship habits that the fairies had that could have resulted in thousands of squashed fairies.
Fairies don't get squashed.
But archaeologists do get burnt fingers.
Yes. Anyhow, what we can demonstrate is the plugging off, which this one, you see, would not plug. That just sort of gets hot. You know, but this one, which would have been the core plug, would have risen from the centre, and you can imagine it sort of coming up like this, and that. So
they would have used it to replug the volcano?
They would have used it to replug the volcano, but how they lifted it, I don't know. I mean, people have suggested sort of levitation and mystical ways, but I think it was just merely they just rolled it up there because they were enormously strong for their size, you know, like ants. Sort of thing, like ants are.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Fortescue.
My pleasure. Thank you.